Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Hongli Yang. My crew members are Cao Wenyuan, Liu Qianyu, and Zhuang Zile. The topic of today's presentation is renewable energy. The reason why we chose this topic is that the energy issue is significant to Taiwan nowadays, and we want to introduce some renewable energy. The presentations will cover wind power, hydropower, solar power, and biofuel. Cao Wenyuan will begin by wind power, and Liu Qianyu will go on to hydropower, and Zhuang Zile will talk about solar power and biofuel.
Hi, I am Cao Yuan. Let me tell you why wind power is the new outlook for the world. At first, I chose wind power because I read the textbook article. The happiest country, Denmark, is the representative of wind power, where wind power has already accounted for 50% of the country's total power generation. By 2050, it is expected to reach more than 80%. At that time, it will rely solely on renewable energy to generate electricity. I therefore think that wind power can really replace some thermal power generation, although some places be affected by the latitude, such as windless zone, resulting in insufficient wind power. It is feasible under suitable conditions. The advantages of wind power generation are as follows. The first is that wind is an unlimited resource. The second is that windmills occupy a small area. The third is to provide a certain amount of employment opportunities. Many countries have taken advantage of these advantages and decided to develop here. For example, the new Biden government in the United States announced a new plan to expand the use of offshore wind power along the East Coast. They predict that by 2030, wind power can provide electricity to 10 million households in the nation and provide at least 77,000 job opportunities while fulfilling the promise of economic recovery and green jobs. Some people think that there are many shortcomings of wind power generation, but in fact, most of them can be avoided. Denmark has done it. As for the inevitable, as the saying goes, it is impossible to have both good and bad. It can only be compared with the other power generation methods and choose a better one. The above is the content of wind power. In the next, my team member Liu Qianyu will tell you why we think hydropower is another choice.
Hi, I am Liu Qianyu. I would like to talk about the hydropower. First, I want to tell you about the advantage and the argument about hydropower. The first advantage is that water is an infinite resource on Earth. We can make use of the water to generate the electricity without concerning the resource exhausted. The second advantage is it will create less pollution in compared to other non-renewable energy. The last advantage is hydropower has high efficiency. I will show you a table about this later. Then, the first argument is the construction of hydropower would destroy the environment. The second argument is it cannot generate electricity in dry season. The last argument is the cost for constructing the dam is expensive. Let's move on the table about efficiency of different power. As you see in the table, efficiency of the hydropower is the highest. However, other powers are almost less than 50%. Next, let's move on the example about the country which use hydropower extensively. Bhutan is the country relies on hydropower without any carbon emission. The reason is Bhutan owns adequate water from the glacier. In addition, the steep relief increases energy conversion efficiency. Finally, there is a graph about the use of renewable energy in Taiwan. As you see in this graphic, hydropower has a large proportion, although the proportion of the solar power increased gradually. The hydropower is still important for renewable energy in Taiwan. The above is my introduction about hydropower. In the next, my team member Zhang Zile will tell you the solar power and the biofuel power.
Hello everyone, my name is Zhuang Zile. I'm going to talk about solar power first. I choose this topic because like what is shown in this slide, solar power is the most significant renewable energy in Taiwan. Let's take a look at the advantages and arguments first. The first advantage is obviously that it is a renewable energy resource. As long as the sun is there, you will never run out of sunlight. Next is that it reduces electricity bills. How much you save on your bill will be dependent on the size of the solar system and your electricity or heat usage. Last is that maintenance cost of solar power is quite low. All you gotta do is to clean those solar panels. And about the arguments, the first is that, of course, it's quite weather dependent. At night, you won't get any sunlight. If the weather is bad, you won't get any sunlight either. And second is that the initial cost of purchasing those solar panels is quite high. Not everyone is gonna afford that. Finally, it uses a lot of space. Some roofs are not big enough to fit the number of solar panels that you would like to have. Let's talk about solar power in Taiwan. Some people think that Taiwan is too small for solar power. After all, it is a really small island. However, let's take a look at this chart. The solar power generated last year is like 800 times of that 10 years ago. That's quite a lot. With the rapid growth of technology, I believe that the efficiency of solar power will get better, and solar power will be a great benefit for Taiwan in the future. Now I'm going to talk about biofuel. I chose this topic because this is related to my brother's project in college. I'm going to talk about the pros and cons. The first advantage is, of course, it is a renewable energy resource. Biofuels are produced from plants and other organic material, so it can be replenished constantly. Next is that it has higher cetane and better lubricating properties, which increases the durability of engines. The final one is the cost. Biofuels cost the same in the market as gasoline. However, the overall cost benefit is much higher because they are cleaner fuels. The first argument is about food versus fuels. With the increased use of biofuels, there will be an urge to grow more of the crops meant for biofuel production instead of food crops. Reduced food production can increase the price, which may lead to inflation. The second is that more land will be required to be cultivated for biofuel production, which can cause the loss of habitat for animals and plants. The last one is that the use of fertilizers can lead to water pollution. Let's talk about the potential of biofuel in Taiwan. Most people know that biofuel is produced from corn and sugarcane, but in fact, it can also be produced from rice. Obviously, rice is the most important food crop in Taiwan, which actually produces 1.5 million tons of rice straw per year, which is a major agricultural waste. Most of them are burned in the open, which can lead to air pollution. And if we can reuse those rice straw, about 250 million liter of cellulosic ethanol can be produced per year, which is a lot. And it can also reduce air pollution. That's why Taiwan has a potential for biofuel.
To summarize, there are two main advantages about renewable energy. First, we don't have to worry about there are no resources to use. The renewable energy resource is infinite. It won't be depleted, so it can generate electricity without buying any fuel. Second, renewable energy has less pollution when generating electricity. We can replace thermal power by using renewable energy to decrease air pollution. However, the renewable energy is not perfect. It has some disadvantage. It will cost a lot to build, like a dam or windmill, and also it will destroy the environment when constructing this. That's all for our presentation. Thanks for listening.